We are now live with episode 20 of season 7 of the Sarcastic Gamer podcast. It's Doc and Lano. There's Lano. We're giving him the opening frame.
Pew! 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 This is what the military police look like in Ferguson.
Oh, Jesus. Dude, it's not. You're not kidding, dude. I cannot believe that the police in Ferguson, Missouri, own tanks. Like
they own tanks, they own assault rifles, but they apparently never spent any of that money on training, as they were holding up military assault rifles at the populace, pointing their guns directly at them, which is exactly what you don't do when you're attempting to de-escalate a situation.
Now, everyone, just calm down while I point this missile launcher at you. I want you to calm down.
We need to disperse these streets at gunpoint, obviously. That's what we're going to do here. Yeah, it's a tough situation there. I feel for everybody involved, except for the police chief, who is a fucking cocksucker. And I really hope that I hope while Obama's golfing, they're able to straighten that situation out, because God forbid he has to leave Napa Valley for any second to deal with the biggest crisis of the year. And welcome to Sarcastic Gamer.
No, it's still going on. It's like a week and a half after the shooting, and it's still going on.
He's still in Napa.
That Tom Clancy books are based on. It's like some little tiny thing that happens, not a little tiny thing, but a thing that happens in a little tiny town, and it just keeps going and going and going. And they're still rioting. They're still under a police state there. And then you got freedom of the press is getting thrown out with the dishwater too.
It's an awful situation. Boy, I have a lot to say about it. The biggest problem is the militarization of the police, who treat people like they're the holding army, and you are the subjugated people. And that's not the way that a police force is supposed to treat its people. That they're sworn to serve and protect. There is just there's so many things that you cannot defend the police about. I have police friends. And I feel bad for them because they're mostly good people, although I have heard nasty stories they've told me that I don't agree with. And you have to, there's a social contract that the people have with its government, and when you violate that, this is what happens. People go crazy.
You need a police force that at least somewhat reflects the community that it's policing. I mean, they have 3 African-American officers on a force of 43, and I think it's like an 80% African-American populace.
Did you heard the mayor's? So the mayor was on, he's been on the news, and he said that, we have 3 African-Americans, I think it's 5, Hispanic, and 2 Pacific Islanders. It's incredible. It's incredible. There's just a complete failure at all levels in the government in St. Louis County and in Ferguson, and it's unfortunate. We do have some video games to talk about too, right after we talk about the suicide of Robin Williams.
Yeah, that's a rough one, man. I did not believe that occurred last week when I was coming up a stairwell and somebody else was going down. They're like, "Did you hear?" And they told me, and I was like, "What? No." And I went and looked at CNN, and sure enough, it had some of the details in there. And then basically my Facebook feed became this weird thing where it was like half of it, or a little better than half of it, was like some really touching things. You had the Aladdin pictures of the genie hugging Aladdin. They were like, "Goodbye, friend," and well done, little tasteful things. And then you have these morons who want to make a name for themselves at times like this, and they're talking about depression like they know anything about it. They're talking about suicide as a selfish act, and it was just, it really kind of brought out the douche in a lot of people. It kind of made me angry.
We've unfortunately this podcast has dealt with the issue of suicide on a couple of occasions, and more than anything else, you and I both, I think, are on the same page that there's no blaming somebody who's dead, and there's no trying to find answers. It's just the only thing you can ever hope to get out of something like this is that you can somehow, in some way, help somebody else before they make this same decision.
And I think the biggest way you can help people is just to make yourself a little more educated on some of the things, some of the warning signs. Not that, I mean, we miss them anyway, but I mean, some of the warning signs and some of the things that are going on with people, and also letting people understand, making it okay. Depression is it's okay. If you have depression, it's okay to say I have depression and to get treatment for it rather than have to hide from it or hide it from other people because I think those are the folks that deal with it have the best chance of getting through it.
Yeah, he had a lot going on. He was just diagnosed with Parkinson's. He was having money problems. People who deal with depression for long periods of time are, that's got to be hell in and of itself. I don't. I feel for the family. I feel for the kids.
I did not realize what a gamer Robin Williams was. I had heard something about him being in World of Warcraft and playing that, but he was actually, I did a little more reading on him. He was a huge Nintendo fan, humongous Nintendo fan. He named his daughter Zelda.
Yeah.
He named her after the character in Zelda, and so I had no idea. And there's a couple of really cool tributes that have gone on around, including in World of Warcraft. There was a sort of this online funeral for Robin Williams as well. I personally, man, I hate living in a world where he's not in it. He was a good guy and a good actor and funny dude, and I'll never forget Mork. My parents letting me stay up and watch Mork and Mindy, in the nights that it came out, the new episodes came out. Watching those things first run, those were good times.
I've seen every Mork and Mindy. I mean, first Happy Days, he was in that, and then Mork and Mindy, and then later with Jonathan Winters, and then World According to Garp, and Mrs. Doubtfire, and Good Morning Vietnam, and just a lot of really good movies. Obviously, Aladdin was just awesome, and that's probably the showcase for Robin Williams right there. And it sucks. It's just, I don't even know what else to say. It's like you have somebody like that who's now gone, and the world just keeps on going, and all you just got to live. I mean, for a guy like that, when he moves on, he's got so much that he's left behind for the world, and you can't help but appreciate that. It's like, I hope when I'm gone, I've left something even remotely close to the world that he left us.
Yeah, amen, man. All right, so video game chat. What else do we have going on? There's really no nice smooth segue out of this. But
we got to get those two things out of the way. I mean, look, this is a podcast where you and I basically talk about what we want to talk about. A lot of times it's video games. We've branched off on other things. And these are things that touched us this week, and I feel remiss in letting those things go by without at least giving our thoughts on it. I mean, fuck. If we can't get on and give our thoughts about things that happen in the world around us, then what the fuck are we doing with this thing,
Yeah, right on. So what do you got on the headlines as far as games go this week?
We have headlines. Gamescom's happening in Germany this week, and a lot of new stuff came out. A lot of new releases being announced by both Xbox One and PS4. I think the most surprising and the biggest news was the announcement by Sony of their sales numbers through Gamescom. And
there are over 10 million units sold, and that's not 10
sold.
Million shipped, which is what Xbox announces their shipping numbers. PlayStation's put 10 million in households.
We don't actually know how many Xbox Ones have sold, which in and of itself is a troubling thing. Some estimates have run anywhere between 4 and 5 million. And I got to say, both of these numbers are blowing away what Xbox 360 and PS4 sold originally. So anybody that's saying console gaming is dead, I mean, didn't you learn your lesson when you said that PC gaming was dead? I mean, I know I did. PC gaming is strong. Console gaming is even stronger.
Gaming in general is growing. People are finding it. New people are coming into it, and no one's growing out of it. I don't know of anybody. I know in my life I've gotten less time to game, but I'm still gaming. And
absolutely.
It's not like well, I'm 40. I guess I'm gonna hang up the controller.
Right.
People are gonna play. We are gonna have. I think our generation, our Gen X generation, is gonna be the first elderly avid gamers. Like we're gonna be like 70, and we're gonna be playing Call of Duty as best we can. You know what I mean? I don't think we're gonna put it away. And then more people are coming in behind it.
Absolutely. And why would you? I mean, as the time that we have to spend to do things shrinks, and things vying for our time, which includes TV and gaming. And I know that I'm watching a lot less TV than I ever have before in exchange for gaming, and it's just, it boggles my mind though because through the same time period when the PS3 came out, in 2 years they only sold 5 million.
Really?
And they're at 10 through like 9 months. Yeah, in the United States, they sold 5 million.
Wow.
And it's like these numbers are just astronomical. And the biggest thing that has come out of it is the way that the Xbox One is absolutely just not competing, even though it's still selling a large number. But when you have PS4 essentially doubling your sales, that's not a good thing, first of all, for gamers and for Microsoft, because when that number gets to 10 million versus 20 million,
Right.
20 million versus 40 million, Sony's going to be dictating the landscape of gaming in a way that we haven't seen in 10 years.
Can you help me with this? I have a theory, and I'm having a hard time verbalizing, but here's the theory that I have. The Xbox 360 was a fantastic console,
Mm-hmm.
and they sold crap loads of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
The PS3 was a decent console, and they didn't sell as many of them, right?
Well, they're very close in total sales when you go worldwide.
Okay, but thinking about the experience of a PS3 versus a PS4, very, very different.
I agree.
My theory is that a lot of people with Xbox 360s are hanging on to them. They're just like, I'm going to hang on to this, and I'm going to keep playing this for a while. I still got stuff I can play on this, and I've got all these games, this huge library of games. I'm going to hang on to my Xbox 360 because, it's a solid experience. Whereas the PS3, it's not a solid experience. I don't enjoy it. Every time I turn it on, it's a pain in my ass. So if PS4 comes out, and I already have the Xbox, why not go for the PlayStation experience? First and foremost, it's cheaper, and it's got to be better than the PS3, whereas the Xbox 360, I've got more games, I got more crap tied up in it. I don't know. I'm having a hard time verbalizing my theory here.
No, I think you've
You
said it. I absolutely completely agree with you. I think one of the big things that you see in all these new games being put out by the Xbox One is that they're also on 360, like Plants vs. Zombies, like Titanfall, where you can still own a 360 and get a very similar experience to what was on the Xbox One. I played Plants vs. Zombies on the 360. Even if you update the graphics, you're still getting the same damn game, albeit without a local co-op experience that you get on the Xbox One. It's not really like that on PS4. You're not getting those same similar exclusive titles that are being released on the last gen version and the next gen version. So if you want to play some of these games that are only out on PS4, you can't also play them on PS3. Now I'm not talking about like games like Assassin's Creed and Battlefield and Call of Duty. I'm talking about like the PlayStation 4 exclusives. And it's even weirder when you look at those NPD charts from this month that show what was hot in July. Call of Duty Ghosts on multi-platform is still number 6 on the fucking chart. That just blows my mind because that game sucks.
Wow. I can't believe they're still up there. Yeah, that game's been out, how long? A year?
Well, it's been out since October, since Veterans Day, so November. So it's been out.
Almost a year.
Well, 9 months.
What? When is it that they release? Doesn't MPD also release? Is it Xbox Live? Do they still release what games are being played the most on their console?
I believe so. I don't know.
I'd be interested to see, how many people are sticking with it and what's ruling the roost right now. I have no clue because my multiplayer career sort of bottomed out a couple years ago. I play a lot of single player experiences now.
Well, there's still a truckload of people at home.
Payday II.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But we have one more. Let's transition into the last news item, and that is the playable trailer for the new Silent Hill game called Silent Hills, apparently, and it's called PT, which is playable trailer PT. This came out. It was announced at Gamescom as PT, as the playable teaser is what PT stands for, playable teaser. And people didn't really know what it was, but it's supposed to be a horror game. So you play through it, and this game is quite something. So this game is out on PS4 right now. I played it for about 3 hours. It is a horror game, okay?
Was it
Now,
scary? Because is that what Palladino put up on Facebook? That scary ass clip that he put up? Was that what that was?
yeah, and for the 99% of our viewing audience that doesn't know that isn't part of that Facebook feed, um,
I'm just
so
wondering
they,
if I'd seen it. So I have seen it. That's why I was trying to say that was scary as crap. Go ahead.
yeah, so you wake up, you get up, you walk around a room, it's photorealistic, good graphics. You open the door. When I was first walking out, I thought I was watching a trailer. I didn't think I'd be able to move the camera. And lo and behold, I'm moving the camera. I'm in control. So I'm like, all right, let's see what's going on here. So I walk down the hall. The hall goes to the right. You can only go to the right. There's a bathroom door there or some kind of door there. You're looking
Don't
around. There's pictures
don't
of
go in there.
people. Can't go in there. I can't go in there. You check the door. I can't go in the door. You walk. There's a foyer there. There's a door that exits the house on your left. There's a radio and some scattered stuff on a dresser in the foyer. And you hear on the radio that a husband killed his wife and kids there, and it was a gruesome scene. And they go into very lengthy details about what happened. And while you're listening to that, you go down these steps and through a door, which you think is to the next area, and you end up right back in that same first hall again. So now you're in this hall, and you walk down, you're thinking, what the hell's going on? So you walk down the hall, you go, make that same right, go towards the foyer, and all of a sudden you hear this boom, 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 boom. You're like, what the f-? And I'm wearing headphones, so I immediately recognize the sound came from behind me. I turn around, and you hear boom, 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 and it's coming from that bathroom door. So you walk over to try to open it, you can't open it, and then nothing else is happening. So I'm like, all right, well, let's go down the stairs and see what's going on. So I walk down the stairs, I exit that door, and I'm right back in the hallway again. I'm like, okay, so this is the game. It's just going to be this hallway, so let's find out what happens next. So I walk down the hallway, I'm looking around, I go by the door, and I'm very, leery of it, because the music is also going crazy in the background. It like goes up and down. It's very, 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 crazy. I walk to the foyer again, and the radio's on again. And all of a sudden you hear this boom, and then the door goes, and then you're just like, okay, I can't do anything. There's no buttons to push. I can't do anything. So I'm like, well, let's go see what's going on. Let's go see what's going on in the door. So you walk over and you kind of peek, and the door's only open like this much. You're kind of looking in there, and you're kind of like, okay, I can't see anything. It looks kind of dark and grimy in there. And then you hear a baby crying. And then you hear like this baby just wailing. You're like, okay. And then you realize that if you hit R3, you click it, you can zoom in.
Oh,
So
God.
as soon as I do that, the hand comes out and the door closes. And you just kind of jump a little bit, and you're like, that's weird. And you're just kind of looking around and see if there's anything else that needs to happen. And then you go down and you exit the door, and you go back in. You go back into the hallway again. And then you're like, what the hell's going on? Except this time, the door to the bathroom is open. And you walk in there, and it's this grimy, dirty, nasty bathroom. And there's this thing in the sink that's crying and making baby noises, and I don't know what it is. It looks like either like it's some like I don't even know how to say this without saying it. It looks like a baby that's had its skin pulled off, and it's crying and it's moving around.
God, dude.
Yeah, it's so creepy. And then you leave, and then all of a sudden the lights start to flicker, and then you hear this wailing, and then you hear on the radio, "Don't turn around, don't turn around." And I didn't fucking turn around. I just fucking ran out. I did not turn around. So then I'm back in the hallway again, and I'm just like, this is like all the hairs are standing up on my body.
Are you playing this at night?
Oh yes, I was playing it at night.
God.
Yeah,
oh
dude.
God.
Yeah, and then and it's like it's not that like I'm getting scared or like I'm jumping, but it's like there's this anticipation that something's going to happen, but you don't know what it is. So like,
When?
Yeah, or when. So you're just like, whoa. Well, needless to say, as you go through this, you have to trigger different things, and different things happen to you until you get towards the end. and then it gets really fucked up. You get to the end, and every time you walk into this hallway, there's a little clock radio with a digital light clock, and it always says 23:59 on it every time you walk by it. Well, there's this one section where you're just kind of like hanging out, and it's still 23:59, and then you look at the clock, and all of a sudden you hear gong, 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 and it's midnight, and then you're just like, holy fuck, what is going to happen now? And then you start hearing this, and you walk, and there's all of a sudden this apparition in the hall, like walking towards you.
Oh,
you're
God.
just like, ugh. And if you get too close, it like comes right at you, you know. But that's not what you're supposed to do in that area. You have to like figure out like what you're supposed to do, and ultimately what ends up happening is you trigger the end game, and it's a trailer for the new
Silent Hill.
the new Silent Hill game.
So you said you played this for 3 hours.
I could not trigger the trailer. I could not do what needed to be done. Remember, this had just came out, so I was playing it that night. And so everybody's online, like trying to figure out, like, what are you supposed to do here? What are you supposed to do here? What are you supposed to do in this part? What are you supposed to do in that part? To my credit, I figured out everything except for one small weird part that I had to go to the internet to figure out what to do. But I could not trigger the end part of the game. And I played that last end section for like an hour, and I just, at the end, I'm just like, I gotta go to bed. I can't stay up and play this any longer. But it's an amazing experience to have that kind of visceral reaction playing a video game. It's really something I don't think I've ever experienced before.
It sounds trippy. It sounds like it's almost like a psychological thriller.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
Absolutely psychological thriller. I mean, because there's really only one time where something actually comes out and affects you. Everything else is all in your brain, you know, coupled with what you're doing there. Because you're literally walking through the same area over and over and over again. Maybe like 100 times I walked through this thing,
Wow.
you know? But it was amazing. I don't know if it's kind of the kind of game that I'm into, but anybody who's got a PS4, you should go and check this out. It's called PT. It's available to be downloaded. It's free, and it was pretty amazing. I was really impressed.
Well, it sounds interesting. I don't have a PS4, but I'll go check it out on YouTube and see what's waiting for me. I think
Still not yet?
No, man, no. Come on, I haven't had any time, and I've been on the road and stuff. But I did get Payday II, which is old school, but old news. But I did get that for the Xbox 360. Started playing that and needed to call Lano to get some help with that. Because,
Love that game.
Yeah, well, it looks like it could be a whole lot of fun. Except I see 3 jobs basically: a jewelry store, a bank heist, and the 4-store thing, and then break up the mall. Do you ever get more types of jobs than that, or those are the 4 you play over and over?
The PC version of the game has probably 15 to 20 different missions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's missions where you go and you make meth, and then you go and like trade the meth for secrets from these gangbangers, and then like shit goes wrong. And there's another one where you go steal arms shipment from a hangar. Then you have to fight your way out of that, and then you take the arms to this place.
This isn't that at all. This is and this is one of these things where you're expected to do like several of the jobs, the bank heist and the jewelry store. You're expected to go in. You're supposed to get a bunch of stuff and take so many bags out to the car.
Yeah, that's.
The problem is I'm playing with AI, and they won't carry a bag. They don't do anything. They just freaking stand there and shoot.
Yeah, that's, Payday 2 you have to play it multiplayer. If you're not playing a multiplayer, then you're not really playing it right. And there's probably more missions available because it's Xbox 360. I don't know, maybe there's DLC. I don't know. There's tons of DLC for the PC version.
I'm kind of I enjoy it, but I also kind of regret dropping the money on it because I just didn't realize how much of it was going to be dependent on me having to play with other people, and what few other people I played with, they wouldn't even do what they're supposed to do. They just run all over the place being idiots. And since you don't have it on 360, I don't know that there's going to be a lot of use for me in that game. But.
Yeah, the community on PC was really good. I ended up running into this one guy who had this hack where I was able to get like $100 million, so I'll never have a money problem in the game again, which is pretty cool because you need so much money to like add pieces onto your guns even after you get them from your cards.
Yeah, they're rather expensive in that world. It's like, you got a mask for $5,000. Like, what?
Well, there's missions you can do where you can take home $1 million a pop, so.
I started playing this other game on Xbox Live, and it was I'm trying to. I think I found it. I think it might have been one of the free with gold games or something. I just found it on my Xbox. I didn't buy it. It's basically like a side-scrolling zombie game where you've got to figure out what happened to your family. Have you played that one? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Um,
Deadlight
no,
or
I don't know what that is, but you know that Dishonored is now on the Xbox Live for gold for live, whatever that's called. It's free now on the Xbox
oh
360.
I'll go grab that while it's still
Yeah,
available. This
I've
one's
wanted to
pretty
play
fun though.
that.
It's like a puzzle platform slash I don't know, zombie shooter, but it's all 2D, so it's side-scrolling. And if you get a chance, I'm gonna find it while you talk about something else. I'm gonna find the name of the game before we end the show
So
today.
the PS4 has their games for summer. I'm going to look for exactly what it's called, but they have a couple of games that have come out. I know we talked about it last week. It's called Play 2014, and basically there's four indie games that have come out: Rogue Legacy, um, a game called Ho Ho Come, Counter Spy, and the Swapper. I did not buy the Swapper, but I have Rogue Legacy. I've been playing Ho Ho Come, and Counter Spy comes out next week. So this game Ho Ho Come, I've only put maybe an hour into it. It's it's really weird. I don't understand what I'm doing. You're playing this snake that you control throughout the environment, and it's this colorful, pastel-colored environments where you're touching things to trigger puzzles, and you can make your guys speed up or slow down or go at a normal pace, and you're picking up people and dropping them off on an amusement park, and it's
What?
really weird. I don't
That's
really know what
great.
I'm doing with it.
There was a game
It's
like that on PlayStation back in the day, and I can't remember what it was called either. But it was one of those things where you had to eat more people, and your worm thing got longer and longer. You know what I'm talking about?
wasn't that an iOS game?
I don't know if they made it on iOS, but they definitely made it on PlayStation. It was a weird ass game where you had to eat people and then spit them out on the other end, and the more you ate, the longer your worm thing got, and you had to get
That's an
this
iOS game. I remember people talking about that.
interesting. Oh, by the way, the game I was just talking about is called Deadlight. It's for Xbox 360. It's in the arcade, and it's actually set in Seattle. And it's not a 2D; it's a 2.5D. So there is some interaction with the background, sort of like that Cliffy B game. What was that one? What was that game called?
Yeah, it was like basically like
Yeah,
Metroidvania kind of game.
yeah, yeah. All right. So that's what I've been playing. Other than Kerbal Space Program, still addicted to that. That actually got some pretty top awards in a magazine my kids read, Boys Life. It was like
Did
one of the game of the year in Boys Life magazine.
Did you see that they announced DayZ for PS4?
I heard that from you, so I didn't
Yeah.
see it, but I heard that. That sounds exciting. That is something I've been very much wanting to play. I don't have a computer that'll run Arma 3 or 2 or whatever it is. But I can't wait. That'll be great. When I get my PS4, it'll be nice.
Yeah, and the new Diablo 3 and the expansion comes out in one package on PS4 on, I think let's see, the 26th? Comes out, I'm looking it up right now. Comes out on the 19th, which is tomorrow.
Wow.
Isn't that tomorrow? What's today, the 18th?
Today's 17th.
The 17th, so it comes out on Tuesday, and it is $60.
Well, that sounds like a deal for me because I've been waiting to play that for a long time and don't want to have to go out and buy a computer. So my son is saved up for a PS4. We just haven't gone to get it yet, so we're gonna do it.
Cool. Before we end off, I want to discuss new Lego. You want to do some new Lego stuff?
Yeah, let's talk Lego. What do you mean new Lego? What'd you get into?
I've got some new stuff for next week that's going to be awesome. But this week, just real quick, I've got here the Lex Luthor armor that, let's see here if I can switch the camera around. So here we have the Lex Luthor armor. I have a little different dude in there, but basically just imagine that that's a ball guy instead of a robot from one of the Lego movies. I couldn't find the Lex Luthor before we were about to begin. And so the coolest thing about this guy is he's got this gun right here, but inside, if you can look, there's this little non-standard piece of equipment that's a piece of, kryptonite.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then what you see here is this. So this guy has all this stuff, and so see this missile launcher here. I actually added that to
Oh,
the Lego piece. I built that and put that on the arm. I used it from a couple other pieces. I added that to it, and then I added these little things here just to kind of finish it out. And then I added some jets on the back. But it's like it's this really cool. Um, I got it for $10 on eBay. It comes with Superman and Wonder Woman, and I actually bought it because it had Wonder Woman in it because my girls love to play with Legos, but they only like to play with the female characters, and for and they really love like
that's because
stuff.
they're smart.
Yeah, they they really love the boys Legos, because they're all like spaceships and robots and stuff like that, and superheroes, and they love superheroes. But the superhero stuff that they sell is going to be all boys and maybe one girl minifig in every box. So what I've been doing is I've been going to there's different webs. Sorry, I'm trying to move this thing out of the way. There's different websites like eBay and there's other ones where you can buy custom-made minifigures that include superheroes that are not being sold right now. So I wanted to show a couple of them real quick. The coolest one here is this one is the Captain Marvel minifigure, and this is the new Captain Marvel. So it's really detailed. It doesn't have the helmet. You see, it's got the star and it's got it's the Carol Danvers blonde hair and the whole thing. I think I got that for like $15. And the girls just love it because they've been watching Avengers Assemble on Netflix, and she's on there, and she's one of the most powerful ones, so they love her. And there's also the Harley Quinn. Well, my daughter's put the blonde hair on her, but she has like the Harley Quinn hat, and she comes with a mallet.
Everybody's got blonde hair all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're playing with.
God, you really put Legos. Legos have taken a new front and center showcase spot in your life lately. The last few shows we've been talking, you've always had a new set.
I've got a bunch of new ones here. If you look, I've gotten some really good prices on eBay. You can see here I got this. This is the Groot. So I've got all the Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know what this was. I think I got it because I was going to use it to break it down to make different things, but I ended up just keeping it. It's cool.
Well, it looks like one of its rocket launchers ended up on your Lex Luthor.
Yeah, I think I made the rocket launcher out of spare parts. But I used the missiles. You can see here, these are red. These are the green ones before, and I used the green ones on the. So I actually did take some pieces from it. This is the bird from the X-Men set. This one I've just bought on eBay. This is the flyer from Dark Knight Rises.
Wow, cool.
Which is just super cool. And then one of my favorites is this guy. I actually modified him. This thing comes apart. This gun right here had yellow missiles in it, and I actually just bought some pieces on eBay to make it look like this gun. So now it's kind of like the same.
Oh, that's neat.
So we've been busy. I'm just going to show off what my 9-year-old made today. She made most of this today. It's a double-decker spaceship that she made. And
I love it, dude. It actually kind of looks like something I've seen before. One thing about what my son was building today, he was upstairs building, and he comes down with this huge boat that he built. And I'm like, do the people, and he was telling me this whole story about like what the boat was for and what they were hunting for and who the bad guy was. And I was like, this is really detailed. Like you've created this whole backstory, and I'm resisting saying, with all this detail you put into this, why can't we pick one color palette?
Well, with Legos, you just gotta. If you can't find a certain color, it's tough. It really stinks when you can't find the right color. But what's really funny is that the Legos for the kids, they really got into it, and just letting their minds be creative with it. But when we were playing with the Legos, and I've kind of gone crazy for it because as a father of 2 girls, anything that I can find to relate to them that they want to do, I usually just dive into it because they're really into it right now. So fuck it, might as well just and I'm not going to take the money with me when I die. Right. The coolest thing about these Lego sets though is that they hold their value if you keep all the parts, and you can sell them for almost close to what you bought them for. So when time comes when they're not playing with them anymore and nothing's happening with them, they're going to go on eBay, and I'll make most of the money back that I spent on it, which is pretty cool. The other thing that was really funny and that I wanted to take away from this topic, and I'm sorry for people who are just listening to the podcast that aren't seeing the pictures, but it gives you another reason to check out the show, because I've actually got some really cool Star Wars pieces coming next week that I can't wait to put together and show off. I've got an AT-AT coming, which was like a childhood dream,
That's
which I
awesome.
can't wait. I can't wait to put that thing together. And that one's for Daddy. Did not even get that one for the girls.
Don't touch Daddy's at it.
Yeah, right. So we're putting these things together, and the kids are making their own little spaceships. And my 9-year-old's like, Daddy, we should make stats and say how powerful the guns are and stuff for each ship. And I'm like, you are my daughter. That's the fucking nerdiest thing I've ever heard anybody say. That was awesome. It was
Let's
just
make stats. That'll be awesome. That is great.
sheer joy. So it's been a big week. We'll have some new stuff next week. I'll also play a little Diablo on PS4, and I'd like to play Dishonored on 360 if I can download it. So.
Cool. Well, I'm going to go get that for 360, and I want to send a quick apology out to the community. As far as the shows go, we've been pretty good about recording, but we've had some issues getting the audio up onto our website. So as you hear this, that means there are probably about 5 more shows that have also been uploaded. We usually would eke them out here and there, but I think we're just going to get them all up, just get them all uploaded, and so you can go binge on us as much as you want to. Thanks for hanging in with us while we make this transition to video, and we're gonna try to be a little bit better about the audio part of things here as we move forward. But it's next week. I am gonna be out on Sunday, so I'm not sure which day we'll get the new show up. But we will get you a new episode 21 very, very soon. Lano, as always, the last word goes to you.
I want to give a shout out to a gamer that we've been playing Last of Us with. I think it's Dis447. He's a young kid from Mongolia, who games from Mongolia, from Ulaanbaatar, which is the capital of Mongolia, and he listens to the show when he's in Kuwait. He works in Kuwait, and then in the summers goes to Mongolia. And so he sent me a friend request after we, gave our gamer tags and PSN names out on the show, and he's the one that actually reminded me that we still have not put up the audio for episode 14, so I apologize to all the listeners. That was my mistake when it was my job to get that up. So hopefully rectify that this week, and I wanted to give that kid a shout out.
Right on. Well, you guys have a great week. We'll talk to you again next week on the Sarcastic Gamer podcast. Thanks for hanging out. Good night.